Okay, thank you. I would like to note that our newest member, Jen Santoro, has joined us this evening. So welcome, Jen. Thanks for joining us. We'll get into some good stuff later around her credentials and some fall planting stuff. But before that, we'll go through our normal agenda. So next order is meeting minutes from our prior meeting, October 25th, 2023. Do any members have any comments, questions? Any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. For consent agenda, we have nothing on consent tonight, so we move into new grading permits. So first, address 414 Barclay Road. So if you could please come up to the mic, introduce yourself, the project, and we will talk trees. And make sure you speak into the mic, and there should be an orange pointer in the podium if you need it.
Hello, good evening. My name's Tony Girardi. I'm with Wilkinson Apex Engineering Group. And like you said, I'm here to go over 414 Barclay Drive. So the intent of this project is just to add an addition in the backyard, as well as a small patio and a walkway, as well as associated grading and a small stormwater system. As far as trees go, we are staying out of the major areas of trees in the backyard and front yards. ENS plan here. So this shows our erosion and sediment control measures proposed. So we have access right there. So that'll be the construction entrance, and then the blue line is tree protection. So we have it around the trees in the back and the trees in the front, since those are downstream coming along the side of the house.
Great, thank you for that overview. I'm assuming all access will be through the driveway?
Through the driveway, yes.
Okay. That 39-inch tree that's nestled between the pathway and the house, do you expect any very large equipment to be in and out? Like large, triaxle dump trucks or similar?
No.
Okay. The only reason I ask is that tree's fairly close to the drive. I just want to make sure we don't compact the roots that are around that area. They look like they have pretty big canopies.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Any other questions, comments from members? It's pretty straightforward. Okay. I'll make a...
Yeah, sorry, I have a question.
Yes, Jim.
On there, it says 400 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site. And I don't want to, later after it's all done, start getting calls from neighbors that the grading's been done, that water's, going onto their property that wasn't for the past 50 years. So do we know where that 400 cubic yards of dirt are going?
So that was an estimate. It may have even been an overestimate, if anything, of cut to be made. And I think that's mainly based on the stormwater system, since that's a few feet deep. I believe that it will be spread on site. I don't think we're going to have an issue there, but I can look into that.
Yeah, if you could, if the dirt's going to remain on site, great. But if it's going to be removed, just make sure you, update the plan and send it back in with the revision.
Okay.
Is there a basement under the building?
Not under the addition.
Is there an addition, right?
Yes, it's an addition. I don't have the architecturals on me. I I'm not sure, to be honest.
It just seems like it might be a lot. Maybe they made a mistake on that.
Okay. Why don't you, once you get a look at the architectural plans, just send a note into the township just to
Okay.
clarify that point.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, no trees to be removed. You have the proper tree protection. So I think we're all set on this end. Do we have any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next address, 180 Berwyn Circle. Pool going in, 120 cubic yards of dirt to be removed, 0 trees to be removed. But as we discussed, there's some changes to those plans. So if you could introduce yourself, relation to the project, and the changes, and then we'll go from there.
Yep, perfect, thank you. I'm Mike Reinhardt, I'm the homeowner. We did submit updated drawings, but maybe didn't get here in time for the meeting. The project is to put in a pool out back of my house. We are going to take out 4 trees, 2 poplars, and 2 maples that I planted. They're not in the way of the pool, but their droppings, leaves will come down close enough that I don't want them there. The dirt actually will remain. I'm going to use a lot of that to build a berm behind the pool. We back up to Cabrini University. The headlights from Cabrini shine into the yard. They'll shine into my pool area, which won't be super exciting. So we're going to build a berm and then plant a bunch of new trees there. I don't have a final figure. Then we're also going to plant new trees. We're in a cul-de-sac between my house and another neighbor on the cul-de-sac to give some privacy. They'll probably all be evergreens and some bushes for year-round blockage.
Thank you for that. So we allow up to 5 trees to be removed without a
Okay.
permit. However, if any of those trees are over 30-inch DBH,
Okay?
do you know if out of those 4 trees, are there big guys as part of that?
DBH?
So diameter at breast height. So
Okay.
if you
gotcha.
can't fit your arms around
I
it,
think they're,
then it's probably
yeah, I think the
30.
poplars are a little bigger than that. They're probably over 35, 36 inches.
Okay, and they're all healthy trees?
Well, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
And
So-
one's leaning over my garage, and the root system doesn't look too great, so we want to take that out for safety
Sure.
reasons.
Okay, so to deem it a hazard or to evaluate its health, we would need a certified arborist to
Okay.
take a look at the trees and a tree report to be filled out, if that is the case.
And if the arborist says the trees are healthy, then what's the process to get them
So-
approved?
If the trees are healthy for 30-inch trees and larger, we have a compensatory planting
Okay,
that we require, and that would be 6 trees per each one of those 30-inch trees.
okay,
4 need to be large canopy trees, 2 can be, small to medium trees, and they need to be 2.5-inch DBH, so that's about
okay,
the size of this can.
okay,
Or there's fee in lieu of, so if you don't have the room to plant trees or what have you, there's $250 per tree, and then we plant the trees somewhere else in the township.
okay,
So what I would recommend is have, one of your local tree companies, call them up. They'd be more than happy to come out, make sure they have a certified arborist on staff,
okay,
and evaluate the trees and the plans. Let me look at the prior version of the plans. The plans need to have the DBH of the tree
the
listed.
updated plans have that
Okay.
listed, yep.
Understood. So that should suffice for that part of it. But if any of those do need to be replaced, so if there's a couple of 30-inch healthy trees,
Yep.
Then we need to have the planting schedule as part of the plans. And there's a formula table that just outlines, here's all of the trees that are being removed, here's the compensatory requirements. All that information is on the township website, and your engineer should be able to figure that out. So I think with that said, there's a fair amount of information that we still need. So I would propose for all of that to be kind of gathered up and resubmitted and have you come back.
Okay.
But I'm happy to hear if anybody else has something to say.
Do you have a file on your phone? Like, did
Oh,
the engineer send you anything?
On my computer, I have it, yeah.
The updated?
The updated one I have with me, yep. I could,
Want to use that since it's on there?
Well, if any of those trees are over 30.
they're definitely over 30.
Oh, they are over 30. It says 30 on there?
I think it says 40 something,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Then we'll have to have just mention.
Okay.
Any other comments? Any other public comment? Okay, so I'll make a motion to have you submit updated plans. By all means, call the township if you have any further questions, and then we'll have you come back. Just as a side, we'll likely be canceling our December meeting, so it would be January.
Oh, okay.
And when you would have to come back. So hate to delay a project, but we do need, the i's dotted, the t's crossed.
One second. Do you have this plan schedule on your plan?
The planting schedule.
I don't have the planting schedule yet.
You don't have it?
No.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking, no, not yet.
Okay.
Okay. So I'd mentioned my motion. Do I have a second to have him come back, resubmit? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Get everything resubmitted, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Next address, 217 Windermere Ave, pool and hardscaping, 136 cubic yards of dirt to be removed from site, 4 trees to be removed. Good evening.
What's that? You want me to I'm the homeowner, Alex Rowe, and with me is Richard Lyon.
Hi, I'm Richard Lyon, Wallace Landscape Associates, landscape architect.
How you doing?
Great.
So what we're looking to do is put a new swimming pool and paving in the backyard of an existing site.
Make sure you speak into the
Sorry.
mic. You can drag it towards yourself, too. Thank you.
So we're looking to change the hardscaping and add a swimming pool.
Great.
And we're looking to take out 4 trees, 2 6-inch crab apples, a 9-inch Norway spruce, and a 12-inch Norway spruce.
Okay. Could you speak to how equipment will be getting in and out of the site through the existing driveway, through the side yard, it looks like?
Yeah, it'll be coming down the existing driveway.
Okay. Do you have any tree protection indicated on the plans?
Yes, it was all prepared by Padula Engineering. If you look on the next. That plan shows all the tree protection.
Okay. Does look like a tighter site, so we just want to take a quick look at it to make sure we've got all the protection needed. The 48-inch tree on the right side of the lot.
The big ginkgo?
Mm-hmm. As far as the dirt to be removed, 137 cubic yards. Still need a big truck to get in and out of there. Just make sure with root compaction and everything else that, you don't park the dump truck right there.
On a hill. So
Okay, good.
Dump
No parking of dump trucks on the hill.
Yeah.
That's really the only one that I'm concerned about, per se. There are, so in the back of the lot, that 36-inch, what is that?
The big one on the left.
That is fairly close to your topsoil stockpile. Is that on a grade?
Yeah, it's kind of steep there.
Okay. So those hash marks uphill?
Yeah, it's sloping down.
Down, okay, understood. And you're staying up on top of the hill for
Yes.
all of the project itself, okay. And that 12-inch, that's near the stormwater pit, back right of the lot, is that one being removed?
No.
Okay,
Wait a sec, sorry. If you look on,
yeah, that is one to be removed, okay. That was the only other one that was close,
the two Norway maples,
mhm,
yeah, they're not good-looking trees. They've been
Sure.
shaded out. There's a beautiful crepe myrtle there, and on the adjacent property, there's a very beautiful ginkgo or katsura.
mhm.
We're just trying to open them up. We don't need that privacy anymore.
Got it. Okay. Tree protection looks good. I think you did what you needed to for what you have to work with. And I don't think I have any further questions. Anyone else? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Good
All right,
luck.
thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Villanova St. Mary's Hall, parking spaces and sidewalk, 120 cubic yards of dirt to be taken off site, 2 trees to be removed. Good evening.
Hello, Brendan Dorley from AEC. St. Mary's Hall, what Villanova is proposing to do is add 9 parking spaces between St. Mary's Hall and Spring Mill Road. The entrance drive in this area comes off of County Line and it loops in front of St. Mary's. And we're adding 9 parking spaces in this area and a sidewalk off the street into the existing doors here. There are several existing trees adjacent to the proposed parking. And this plan highlights the green is the tree protection fence that we're showing for a 40-inch oak, 2 small oaks, and a dogwood. And in front of the entrance there are 2 in poor condition hemlocks that are proposed to be removed, and we're adding 4 trees for the project.
What size are those trees?
I'm sorry,
What size are those trees?
the hemlocks,
Yes,
one's a 10 and one's an 11.
got it.
And we're adding 2 different types of dogwood, 2 out front of that part of it, and then 2 in the grass area along Spring Mill Road.
Great. And no trees over 30 inches are being removed, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. There are a couple trees in this area that are over 30, but one's on the other side of the driveway, and the one in our area is being protected.
Understood. And just noting for the record, compensatory trees are being replanted where they don't need to be, so thank you for that. Much appreciated. And everything to me looks buttoned up, but any questions from the commission? Okay. Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. And just make note, Jen Santoro did abstain from this, being affiliated with Villanova. Thank you. All right, you are also here for the next one, I
Yes.
assume? Okay, so the big one, demolition of parking structure and construction of new parking structure. 13,000 cubic yards of dirt to be taken off site, 11 trees to be removed.
Let me first say, this project received approval in June. The plan hasn't changed. That was the land development process. This is the grading permit process. So, do you want me to go through the plan again, or?
Yeah, just do a high-level overview. I
Okay.
did recall this.
We're removing 11 trees, and none of them are over 30-inch. A couple of them are over 18, and we're required to replace them with 15, and we are replacing them with 15. And 4 of them are large canopy per the regulations in the code. So background, we're removing the single-story parking structure behind the health services building along North Ithan, and we're replacing it with a 4-tier parking structure. And there's other site improvements around it. We're reconfiguring the driveway down, hence the amount of cut and fill that we're proposing.
And this did go through planning, correct? Yep, okay. Great, and nothing has changed, as you noted, since the last time we had reviewed this?
Correct.
And I recall we went over some species and things of what's being replanted, and that all
Yes.
looks good from what I remember. So I don't think I have any other questions. Anyone else? Any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Okay. Next project, 165 King of Prussia Road, proposed hotel. Do we have anyone from 165 KOP here? All right, we will skip over. 92 South Ithan. Good evening, number 2. So stormwater redesign, 120 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed.
Hello again. I'm Tony Girardi. I am here with Wilkinson Apex Engineering Group, and this one is 92 South Ithan Ave. So this project was previously approved under grading permit application 203404. It is currently under construction per that approval. They had removed 2 trees. Along with that, you guys had approved that back in 2021. With the new ordinances on stormwater management, they can reduce the size of that and use just the stone. So they want to pursue that. I have,
It's a rain garden, correct? Or?
it's an infiltration
Oh,
seepage bed.
I gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It was a crate system previously.
Understood.
So it's a pretty large crate system, and the client wants to reduce the size of that. We're actually pretty significantly reducing impact all around. So this is the previous plan, and there was a tree here and here that were removed. And then that large tree in the back, that one was considered dead or diseased at the time. It was looked at by an arborist and approved by you guys to be removed. So currently we are removing no trees, no additional trees, and that is the extent of this one.
Great. And it looks like it's about half the size, the
Yes.
stormwater basin. Great. Okay. I don't think I have any questions. Seems straightforward. Anyone else? All right. Any public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. St. Honore Stormwater Management System, 369 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 58 trees to be removed. Good evening.
Good evening. Michael Boker with Apex Design and Engineering Group. As you may recall, we were before this committee recently, several times for the approval of the subdivision. Now we're into the grading permit process. So with that, as we're going through the actual lot design for each of the homes, this first permit is just the general overall permit, which covers the installation of the road. With that and with the lots that will be under construction, we have no additional trees being removed. In fact, the builder is going to try to save some of the ones that were scheduled to be removed on the individual lots, and you can see some of those are highlighted on the plan. It's about 12 to 14 additional trees that we are going to endeavor to save. And with that, we're not looking to reduce the amount of trees that we're providing. We're going to keep the same level of compensatory planting in the effort to save the additional trees.
That's great news. Thank you very much. So nothing has changed since we reviewed. If the commission recalls, we did do an on-site a couple times. Thanks for having us out again and working with us on everything. So with that said, I think, tonight's just a formality, but any other comment? Any public comment? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. And we'll go
I'll be
through
standing here
a few more
next.
here. But we have a couple to go through first on Stratford. Which are you, Stratford as well?
We're all, yeah.
Okay,
The rest
great.
of these are us.
Got it.
They're all the individual
Oh,
lots.
understood, okay.
So we have about half of the lots in right now
Yep.
for grading permits.
So for the record, 219 Stratford Ave, new family dwelling, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 11 trees to be removed. Take it away.
So as I mentioned, with this lot, I can pull up that plan if you'd like to see that.
Might as, yeah, each individual, if you have them, just for the record, that would be great. Thank you.
Which lot numbers on the first that you have in front of you?
219 Stratford.
So this plan that you see in front of you is the erosion sedimentation control plan for that lot. It shows the house footprint, which is almost identical to what we had at the time of the subdivision plan, with access off of Stratford Avenue, the house being constructed. And this lot does have some of the additional trees that we are trying to save. There is a row of 3 trees to the rear of the lot, as well as a couple along Stratford Ave that we're going to try to save as we go through construction.
Great. And as far as just noting for the record, all of the trees being removed, this particular property has 11, but as far as the trees being replanted, I think they're kind of spread throughout, the entire project. Is that true?
Correct. At the time of subdivision, we looked at compensatory planting throughout
Sure.
on a whole and took advantage where we needed to plant. We do have, this plan shows those trees that were scheduled to be planted on this lot at
Great. Okay.
time of subdivision.
And just for the record as well, it's not like all of the trees to be replanted are in a certain pocket. They're spread throughout
They're
the project.
spread, correct.
Okay. Any other comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Next address, 223 Stratford Ave, new family dwelling, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 8 trees to be removed.
Pretty much the same thing with this lot. I think there is maybe one tree, it's right near the property line with the adjacent lot that was scheduled to be removed that we are going to try to save. Other than that, we're going to maintain the same level of planting on this lot that we had at the subdivision.
Great. Any comment? Public comment? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. This is going to be fun. All right, next, 227 Stratford Ave, new family dwelling, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 3 trees to be removed.
So not much different with this lot. Again, the house is pretty much identical, the same footprint. I don't think any of the additional trees happen to fall on this lot that we're trying to save. But again, we would provide the same level of planting that was shown at the time of subdivision. There is one tree located here that we are going to save.
Got it. All right, any other comment? Public comment? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, 14 Rue Street, Lot 4, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed.
So unlike the previous lots, this lot is located on the new cul-de-sac. Again, with this lot, it's kind of located in the middle of our proposed cul-de-sac. No additional trees. We're going to protect the existing trees on the adjacent property during construction and provide the planting that was scheduled at the time of subdivision on the lot.
Great, thank you. Any comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, 18 Rue Street, Lot 5, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed.
Same thing as the last lot. No additional trees, I believe, on this lot, and we will provide the same number of compensatory plantings as shown at the time of subdivision.
Great. Any comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next, 22 Rue Street, Lot 6, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed.
So what number, 26?
Lot 6, 22.
May have missed that one in printing all of these.
I-
Same thing as the previous lots,
Sure.
2 lots located
All
on the
good.
cul-de-sac, and we'll provide the same number of plantings as before. 6.
All good. I'm sure we have a digital copy of it. Any comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. 26 Rue, Lot 7. 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 0 trees to be removed.
So this house is located down near the end of the cul-de-sac. Again, no additional trees to be saved on this lot, and we will provide the same level of planting as shown at the time of subdivision.
Any comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. 30 Rue Street, new family dwelling, 50 cubic yards of dirt to remain on site, 10 trees to be removed.
So this lot's directly adjacent to the lot we just discussed, and identical in that we will provide the same level of planting on this lot.
And this is the last one, correct, I believe? Yeah. And just in regards to communication to the community, I know that we had discussed this previously, but if you could just remind for the record what has been done in regards to community involvement, announcing of the project, all that good stuff, before we wrap it up.
On our end. So since during the time of subdivision, we had several meetings on site with both this committee and other members of the township, and invited neighbors to walk the site at that time to hear their concerns, see if any additional plantings were possibly required on their property, which the developer, I believe that was the condition of approval, that we follow through with some of that, and we will be doing that.
Great, thank you. Any other comment? Public comment? I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in
Second.
favor? Aye. All
Good
right,
luck, guys.
thank you.
You guys should use Steve Shiner for taking down the trees. He's right. Oh, there he is.
All right. So next is our clearing permit section. And we have a bigger project, 62 trees coming down, 94 being replanted. And let me get the,
Good luck.
thank you, good luck. All right. And this is for 851 Tall Oaks Road, Wayne.
Correct.
Good evening.
Yes. How do you do? Hopefully we can, there we go. Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Bramhall, landscape architect, owner of Scope Landscape Architecture, the company that's developed this plan. And him here before you seeking approval for a clearing permit to remove the said 62 trees from this property in Wayne. I have before us the plans, and we'll go through them and just discuss the strategies and the overall plan for development. I did want to make one thing a little clear. Oh, sorry. I did want to make one thing clear before we start. It said on the application, clearing without approval. No work has been done at this site currently. We're just seeking approval at this point.
That's just a nomenclature on the agenda. It's
Gotcha.
tree removal without approval or clearing
Aha.
permits grouped together.
You guys panicked
You're
me
not
when
in
I
trouble. You're fine.
Okay.
And if you could give us a little bit of, about the existing conditions and sort
Absolutely.
of a timeline on that, like.
Absolutely, yes. So the site, 851 Tall Oaks in Wayne, has been purchased by the current owners back in 2022, January 2022, and they've now turned their attention to the exterior renovations. The property is a densely vegetated site, currently with 92 trees on there, in varying states of condition, some healthy, some dead, some in disrepair. It's across the map. So the clients, they have an existing pool that they'd like to renovate. That's also in a little bit of disrepair. And they want to reclaim some of that space, basically, and turn it into a usable residential backyard, essentially, is the goal of this. So the strategy overall, before we get into the plans, is to keep as many of the perimeter trees that are in healthy condition as we can, supplement those with evergreens to give privacy where there is none from adjacent lots, and then replant the center of the lot with more manageable native understory and lower trees, because the site can't handle the canopy that's there currently. So we'll get into the plans. So, and that's the overall view of the site. Here we can see just a rendering of what we anticipate the site to look like once it's complete. Color version here, in case we wanted to see that. But the first sheet here, we're going to look at existing conditions. So here we can see the existing pool and how densely the lot is vegetated. Now, we kept the tree circles small for clarity's reasons. Once we started putting the canopies on here, it really got turned into a messy plan. We have enlisted the services of Brandywine Urban Forest Consultants, and we've submitted the tree report with that, which indicates the health and status of all the trees. They're also related in this plan here. So this shows the site with all its 91 trees. And the next page here shows the proposed conditions. So we can see around the perimeter, everywhere we've got nomenclature in the trees. These are all the trees we're proposing to save. And then evergreens around the perimeter, like I said, to give privacy where needed. And then, understory plantings as needed in the center, but with more purpose and presence. So the total tree count to remain is 29. On this next page here, we have the overall tree removal plan and tree protection. So we see tree protection fencing around every single tree that's set to remain. We do have some tricky conditions where we're trying to remove invasive species which are nestled between, trees we would like to keep. So we have annotations and notes. Brandywine Urban Forestry will be on site during this as well, during the construction of this project. So we have an arborist on staff. But here it's showing that we have 62 trees that we're hoping to pull out to clear so that we can, go through with these renovations. Now we've broken down the tree removals into certain categories. Here we show the remove per arborist recommendations due to the hazardous status. Again, all this information is in the report that accompanied the drawings, which you have. It's just locating them on the plan so that we can go and see that, if you feel the need to go and see them, or just for clarity's sake. So here we have 8 trees that we're proposing to remove, which are hazardous due to the arborist's recommendations. And for those trees, given their hazardous nature, we're not proposing to replace those trees. On the next sheet here, remove per arborist recommendations, let me put my teeth in, due to invasive status. This is largely consisting of Norway maples across the site. Same applies, that we're not looking to replace any of these trees under the compensatory measures due to the invasive status. Now we're moving on to the list, 6 to 18 inches, of which there are 36 trees. If we remove the invasive and also hazardous trees from this list, it gives us a replacement value of 11, which at this size can be any size tree. We're proposing 61 at this point. So, you know, the design itself takes care of the compensatory trees in this instance, but where we are going to ask for some relief, or what the clients would like to do is pay in lieu into the township fund, because the site simply can't hack adding any more canopy trees to this site. So here we have the list, 19 to 29 inches, which is 25, but again, removing hazardous and invasives from this list, it still leaves us with a replacement of 38 canopy trees and 19 understory trees. And the overall planting, again, we're covering those understory trees, but where we're going to ask for relief is these 38 canopy trees. And again, the owners would really like to pay into the township fund for that, just due to the nature of the site. Here we have 2 dead trees that are on site. Again, there's no compensatory measures. It's pretty cut and dry for the dead ones. This sheet is just simply showing the current soil profiles. And here we have a planting plan along with the tables, if you need to zoom in on that. So again, if we can go through the removed and compensatory. So 6 to 18 trees, we're removing 11. 1 replacement tree required is 11, proposed is 61. 19 to 29, 19 removed, 3 replacement trees, 2 large canopy. So that leaves us with 38 and 19 any size. Again, we've shown that we're going to replace those, at least the understory. Invasive, we're removing 21, 16 to 18 inch. Invasive, 19 to 29 inch is 1. Hazardous 8, dead 2, so the total count therefore becomes 62 trees that we would like to remove from this site. And that really is the long and short of it. Any questions?
Great, thank you for that.
Of course.
One thing that I did not see in the packet, at least that we have, is I see the Brandywine Urban Forest Report, which is great, but we do need there's a township hazard tree report.
Okay.
That would need to be filled out. I'm sure you already have everything you need, but that does need to be on file.
Is that a standard township form, or is that something
It's
that
a
Arborist
township
provides?
form. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's on the
All right.
website, and you know, if you can't find it, just call in and they'll point you in the right direction.
We'll get that.
Okay.
So, and that needs to be filled out by Mike Dunn.
A certified arborist.
Yep, gotcha.
Which
We can
Brandywine
provide that.
would have, right.
Okay.
And pictures are required. It doesn't have to be, for a larger lot like this, they can be kind of general pictures that show the conditions of trees.
Okay.
The form will describe everything that you need. And then as far as, if you could flip back on your plans to that table that we were just looking at.
Yeah, the replacement formula.
Yes.
Okay.
So invasives, technically, we still require replacements if they're being removed.
Okay.
So we'll need to factor that into the calculation of fee in lieu of, I know, so that, the first column, does that include hazard trees as well?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So it's broken down into, it's broken down the invasive 6 to 18 and standard 6 to 18. So for example, native trees that are coming out 6 to 18
Right.
and invasives. So what you're saying is these invasive 6 to 18 need to be factored in.
They
need
do.
to provide compensatory measures even for invasive trees.
The only ones that we allow would be the hazards,
Okay.
providing we get the report. And then ash trees are excluded. So if any of those are ashes, which they're not invasive technically, so.
Right, yeah, it's a tough one, but they are in decline.
Yeah. So those need to be factored in. And then We don't have the digital plan, so sorry while I'm walking you through this. Ian, if you could zoom in a little bit more on the table. So the 19 to 29 trees, DVH trees, the healthy ones,
Yes.
that's a total of 19?
Yes, 19, so 38 canopy and 19 any size.
Correct, yep, okay. That is correct. It was just double checking. Okay. And so out of those proposed, 0 canopy and 61 understory.
Yeah, it's sort of, you know, again, due to the nature of the site, adding more canopies is really tough here.
So
But
out of-
understories we can,
Out of all trees being replanted, no canopy trees?
no.
Is there any possibility to sneak in some canopy trees? I would love to see at least a couple.
Yeah, so I think the only place we could potentially put them, and of course this is preliminary, this is just the STC, we've also got the grading permit to come forward as well. The only place really would be front yard.
Okay.
So I can, that's, you know, I'd have to talk to the owners about
Sure.
that and see if they're willing. But
It would be
That's
worth a
really-
conversation if you don't mind.
yeah,
Um,
we can have that conversation.
That's
sure.
our mission, you know.
I know,
protect the
I know.
canopy, so-
It's this is a tough site, especially with
Sure.
the owner's goals. So
Sure.
It would be
understood.
also good if they weren't tulips.
right.
Basically, you have a monoculture here.
Well, this is it right now. It's Norway maples and tulip poplars, and yeah, it's tough. So having some diversity would be good.
Exactly. So I think, you know, what we'll need you to do is update the tree replacement schedule to include the invasives. If any of those invasives are hazardous,
We can remove those.
but you can, but they'll need to be submitted along with the others for the hazardous tree
Yes.
report.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So get all of those numbers revised, and then once the final tally is figured out, it's 250 a tree, and you know, that goes into our big tree fund, is what we call it, and then we'll, you know, use that money to plant trees in
course.
parks, at residents, everywhere else. You know, so we're definitely gracious for that, understanding that, you know, this lot is pretty packed full. So with those details, I think my proposal is get the table updated, get the hazard tree report in. We'll have our township arborist take a look at that report. And then we'll need you to come back so we can formalize everything.
Okay.
I just have one question. Are there near neighbors?
Yes.
Do they know the scope of this?
They do. The owners have spoken to both on each side and even on the adjacent. So they have a neighbor here and a neighbor here. They've spoken to both of these and these neighbors here.
Understood.
So,
Great.
So that, yeah.
Good.
I just want to
They
point
have.
out one thing. I know I'm not voting on this, but he does have all the replacements up there to cover all the removals.
Well, so not the invasives, though.
Sure he does. Well, you have 61 trees you're planting, right?
Yeah, they are all understory though.
And you were paying in lieu of for the,
I'm paying in lieu for the canopy. So yeah, you know,
so you have 61 to cover everything, and then in your 19 to 29, you were 36. How many trees? Large shade tree or canopy trees?
oh, it was 38 and 19.
38 you were going to pay in lieu of, and then you have 119 to 29 invasive, or two of them that would be in lieu of. See your invasive? You
Yeah,
have one tree.
119 to 29.
So that should be 2 trees to 1,
yeah, exactly.
which you would be paying in compensatory for
And then,
2.
then these invasives that we need to study to make sure there's no hazards in there. Right?
Yep.
So we need to add this to here. But I'm going to need to study this number here to make sure there's no hazards in it.
But even if you do, you're compensating for that already.
That's true because we're over the
61.
we're
You're
over the
planting 61
requirement
trees.
anyway.
That's my point.
Okay, yeah, at that
Same.
size, 19 to, what is it, sorry? 6 to 8,
So
yeah, 6 to 18, so that's covered. It's only an additional tree
just
here,
bring that
so
out
it's
there
2.
so it's
So
known.
that makes it,
Yeah.
it's essentially 40.
40 large canopy.
It's 40 large, which is the
but
compensatory
everybody would love
fee
to
in
see
lieu.
some large canopy trees planted.
Right. So that number can, you know, that's a small adjustment, really.
Thanks, James. I would still like to see just everything finalized.
Yeah, of course.
The hazard tree report, but understood that, you know, we're close on the math, which is good.
So the report, you say, we've submitted the report, are you just talking about the application form, or is this?
No, it's a separate hazard
Okay.
tree report.
All right, understood.
And when it gets submitted, then our township arborist
Yeah.
verifies, likely will go on site for this one, check it out. all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff.
But that should be done by the contractor, not by the forester. He's just a consultant.
Well, a certified arborist does need to submit,
Certified arborist on staff of the company that's,
correct? Yep.
So that's going to be
So
somebody different
urban
because
forestry
urban
is not-
forestry are not the contractors.
right.
We hired them as an independent contractor.
That should still be fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't, as long as it's
long as they're-
associated with the project and, you know, it should be fine. It doesn't have to be the building contractor.
Well, that's
So-
good, because
so
that could
guys,
have
I'd
taken
like to,
some more time.
I'd also like to have, once you get this corrected, put the final number that you're going to pay the fee in lieu of, so there's a record of it somewhere,
Mhm.
what we need, so the township can keep a track of what.
Well, can we just put the trees and then
And just do the calculation and put, you know, being paid.
X dollars?
Exactly.
Or just say it's being paid
You
in,
can-
because
40
X-
times,
X
not-
if you're doing
dollars.
40 trees times 250.
Right, I can do that. Is
Exactly.
that necessary on these
Right,
drawings?
so down the road, the township knows what to
Well,
expect.
the dollar amount, I think we can leave off, just,
Yeah, I don't want to put any
We've never done that.
numbers and financials on the
yeah, you can
documents.
just put the number of compensatory
Yeah,
in a manner that makes sense.
okay.
And then we can do the calculations.
Yeah,
Off the record.
okay.
Great, okay. Any public comment?
Nobody left.
So I'll make a motion to table this plan to make updates as required, and we'll have you come back at our next meeting. As mentioned earlier, our December meeting will likely be canceled, so it would be January.
I mean, that's okay anyway, because we've got to come back for the grading permit. Ideally, we would have liked to get the trees started over the winter
Sure.
and then get the grading permit ready for spring, but,
Process is process, unfortunately. But
so knowing these are just small adjustments, is there a potential way to sort of approve this, commensurate on the grading plan coming in next?
So, I'm not comfortable with approving this with contingencies, just because of some of the details, and we want to make sure the township arborist takes a look at this.
Okay,
But,
all right.
I'd be happy to hear if anyone feels different.
That's how planning feels about these things. We
Right.
really don't want to give
Right.
approval before the details are done.
So, with that said, I'll make a motion to table with the details as discussed. Do I have a second to table? All in favor? All right, thank you.
All right.
And we'll see you.
Thank you all.
We'll see you back here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
We'll see you
Thank you.
back, and likelihood is we'll have the grading, that'll all be coming in at once at that point then.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good
All
luck.
right.
All right. Next item on the agenda, violation notices. We've got none. So we can move on to number 8, old business.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
So, big update. So we are almost wrapped up our fall planting. So we just have a few trees left to be planted in right away by Public Works and John Hosback. Thanks again for helping us out there. And that'll happen Monday, right, Steve? Correct. Perfect. So if anybody's listening, if you're still waiting on a tree, it'll be in Monday. And I'm just absolutely amazed by how the fall planting went, and everyone that helped out. For those that came to Warren Philippone last Saturday, quite the sight to see. Everybody was just so eager to help out, and everyone did a wonderful job. The biggest thing this year was Public Works dug us some holes, which was a huge, huge help. And Steve has said he's happy to do that again for the next plantings, which would be awesome. So we got 53 trees in within 2 hours, basically, which was awesome. And we had close to 50 volunteers. Kristen ran back and forth, picked up food, and she was our food shepherd. Yeah, Chick-fil-A. The Bruno Brothers and Chick-fil-A provided food, which was great. We got everyone fed. And
It was an awesome sign she did, too.
yeah, she did it all. She brought a sign. We had the 3 tables set up. James, we had your wife's tablecloth that she made all set up. Looked awesome. Biggest tablecloth I've ever seen in my life, by the way. It spanned 2.5 tables. Yeah, it looked impressive. So thanks again to her for doing that. And all of the street trees that went in, all residents were delighted, happy. This fall registration, we figured out the inventory situation, so everybody that signed up for X species got X species, with the exception of like 1 or 2, but much better than previous years where we had to switch species on people, and I get it. It's plan for something and get something different. So we'll plan to do that moving forward with the inventory control situation. And it was an awesome success. And I think this, coupled with the tree maintenance pilot, is a great kind of grouping of projects coming together. So Warren Philippone was the first park for our tree maintenance pilot, and Executive Tree Care did a great job. We had John Hosback work with them to make sure we got all the details wrapped up, and they did a great job. So I just want to thank them. They also helped us plant some trees in the right-of-way, and really just want to thank everyone on the record. So James, thanks again for helping out. Rockwell, John Hosback, Executive Tree Care, Tree Authority, Radnor Conservancy, Shriner, Arbor Day Foundation, Chick-fil-A, DeBruno, Do It Best, Accenture, and Girl Scout Troop 51227. If you're listening, thank you very much. Keep planting trees.
And don't forget Frank.
Yes, thank you, Frank, the mastermind behind the scenes. Yeah, and Public Works couldn't have done it without you guys. With going to pick the trees up, bring the tools, clean up, dig the holes, help us plant trees in the right way. You guys are really the rock to our operation. So thanks again. So again, we'll plan to do in the spring a similar planting. We'll try and tee it up with some maintenance of a park and couple it with a planting coming right after it. So we're making big strides, which is awesome. The other item to note from a process perspective is deer protection. So Tree Authority introduced us to a new style of deer protection, which is before we were using, Jen will probably cringe on this one, before we were using black corrugated pipe for our deer protection. And what we found when we met with Dana from PHS at the Willows was that each one of the trees that we picked the corrugated pipe up from, there were bugs hiding out, and there was moisture down in there, which is not great for the root ball and the base of the tree. So we're going to use the new style moving forward. I spoke with Ricky, and we actually did get Tree Authority provided 100 of these, and 50 of them were used during the resident plantings. The other 50, Steve and company are going to pick up and then use those for the trees on Monday. And then the leftovers we'll either throw into, Steve, did you guys put deer protection on the trees in the park yet?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did the corrugated pipe.
Sorry for the bashing the corrugated pipe.
That's
But we're
okay.
going to make some changes, you know? Everything's worthy of optimization. So it's 4-inch, 6-inch, whatever it is, but
Black netting?
it's black netting, it's hard plastic, and it's, you know, it's, in my opinion, a bit better than wrapping stakes with actual fencing, because that stuff usually always like blows around or like gets messed up, the stakes fly over. And this stuff, you know, it has a slit in it, so it's easy to put on. Obviously, take off at some point once the tree's mature enough, and it'll all be good.
Do we need some more of them?
So we're good.
I have a ton of them if you want.
Do you? All right. How much you sell them for? Okay.
You need some, Steve?
We,
Yeah, we can go around and take the black corrugated pipe off of the trees that we already put on.
I mean, I won't make you do that, but if you want
It's
to.
not a big deal, really.
Okay.
You know,
I'll see what I have and I'll drop them off, because,
You don't use them?
yeah.
we use, best way to go, what's too expensive here?
Yeah.
Rebar.
Oh, yeah, well,
3 pieces of rebar if you're in a heavy deer area,
yeah,
and they won't get in there.
it's like moose protection
Hey.
at that point.
It works, it works.
Yeah, if we start seeing moose around here, we have bigger problems. Well, that sounds good. Thank you, Steve. So I think those are really the highlights. Again, thanks to everyone involved. It really does take a village to pull all this off. And we'll plan to do it again in the spring. Tree maintenance pilot. So we covered off on Warren Philippone. We did just get estimates from Executive Tree Care for the remainder of the parks that we had identified in our priority list. So just to recap, that was the Willows, Hartford Park, Radnor Trail, and then the Tap Trail. Now, the Tap Trail is likely going to be booted off the list unless I can coordinate with Radnor High School to work out, you know, the specifics of that, because that is their property. So I'll take the action to work on that part of it. But basically tonight, we just need the head nod from us to say the goal for this is to wrap up the year by fulfilling kind of our original mission, which was we had $50,000 earmarked, you know, for the maintenance pilot. I think, you know, we were all surprised with how much work we could do with that number, which is great, and execute the other 3 parks and trail that we had identified before the end of the year. Now, because the total amount is over $7,500, we will have to put this in front of the BOC for approval. So the next BOC coming up, I think, is what is that, Leah? The first Monday? 4th. Thank you. So the idea is to get that in front of the BOC to get approval, and then try and get us scheduled in before the end of the year. Doesn't necessarily have to be scheduled in before the end of the year, but we want to get it approved and kind of earmarked from this year's budget. And then the goal would be in the spring, we'll follow up with some plantings at these areas that are freshly cleaned up, and kind of do the same thing we just did at Warren Philippone. So I think, you know, we learned a lot from the planning that we did for the tree maintenance pilot this year, and, you know, still some things to iron out and figure out, but I think we've established a pretty good process, and, you know, we can talk more details next year, but the goal would be to, you know, continue on with this. So I'll do something similar as to what I did this year, which was, you know, work with Bill White, work with the BOC, and make sure we have, you know, funds kind of earmarked for maintenance in '24 as well. As far as a number goes, I think we'll ask for maybe a bit more, but, we'll probably be in at a total of like 2/3 of the 50,000, if not a bit less. So I don't know that we necessarily need to ask for more next year, per se. But we can think on that one and loop back around. But any thoughts on the maintenance pilot? Let's hear it, James.
Maybe offline, but there was a couple things that needed to be done.
Yeah, and
Is
that, it
'cause
did
wasn't
happen.
done at the planting.
So we can talk about it offline, but
Yeah.
so we did work through, there was some, so we went into this knowing that this was a non-standard project for tree companies to execute on, which is who we hired. So we worked with them, John Hosback, worked to get all of the details wrapped up. And the plan is, we'll grow together at the next project, and, the goal is to make sure everybody's happy with the work that's been done. All right? Any other thoughts? All good? Cool. Any other old business to talk about? All right. Any public comment? Next, new business, registered tree contractors. So James, this was something that you had brought up.
I just asked Leah for a copy, that was all.
Sure. So the response to that was because the contractors change
No, I understand.
in
that,
status all the time, right?
But there is no list.
Right. So the way to go about this is if anyone ever sees a tree company removing trees that's in question, or there's a lot of trees being removed or whatever, just call the township. Township will come out, inspect. If they're not registered, they'll get shut down, as has happened a couple times this year. And if everything's in check, then they're good to go. But that's kind of the process for that.
That kind of goes back to what we were saying with the last guy. If he has a contractor cutting down trees, it's not the ordinance is not for
Turn your mic on.
an arborist to give the go-ahead. The ordinance is that the tree company doing the work has an arborist on staff.
Well,
So-
but a certified arborist does have to submit the hazard tree report.
Correct, the one that's doing the
Right.
work, supposedly,
Well,
or that's associated with the company.
on
That's the
occasion,
ordinance.
right, on occasion, it is possibly a different group that does the hazard tree report as opposed to who's doing the removals. We've had that a couple times. But most times it is
I don't remember that happening, because then you would be having a contractor that's not registered.
Well,
Because you need to have an arborist,
Sure.
that's the whole point of it.
both parties would
work.
have to be registered and have a
Excuse me.
certified arborist.
Some of the tree companies have consulting arborists
Right.
that they use. I guess they hire them for those individual
Correct, the tree
projects.
companies do.
Yeah, the tree
Not the-
companies. Sometimes it works in reverse, that the homeowner hires the
Right,
arborist and then
or the
finds
So
the
that's
tree
allowed then?
company. They do it.
right,
So it's, okay, if as long as.
or the
I
landscape.
never knew that.
The landscape architect could hire a certified arborist if it's a bigger project, per se.
As long
But-
as it's permitted, sure.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks it's always good to refresh our memories. We're losing it. The older we
So I have
get.
a piece of new business to bring up that's not
Yes.
on the agenda that was brought to my attention by my buddy on the EAC.
Yes.
And she has a question about the Wayne Preserve. So you guys remember, I forget the exact number of trees that we
Mhm.
approved there, but she says, and I haven't been by there, but she said, driving by, it's like clear cut. I mean, does anybody know anything about how come so many more trees got taken down?
Who's the arborist they're using?
I think going by to our fall planting, I did see that work started. And Steve Norsini did do a presentation recently at one of the BOC meetings, just to refresh everyone's mind on the project. But I trust Steve Norsini to follow the plans that were presented, but, you know, we can reach out to him to provide some details. He's always good
I
at
think they're
doing that.
cutting most of it, weren't they?
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And I'm
because
sure
of,
he's there every day, or somebody is.
just because of how the project needs to be
Yeah.
executed, but,
Okay. I'll let her know we're going to follow up with Steve just to verify.
yeah,
as well.
sure, of course, of course. Any public comment on the West Wayne Preserve, AKA new business?
Sarah Pilling, 29 Garrett Avenue. I was on the EAC and resigned, but I still listen to the meetings. There was incomplete information given. There was nothing about the contaminated soil that has to be removed. And there was really nothing about the stormwater work that in order to do it, they had to take down many of the, there's a lot of ash in there, a lot of very tall, very skinny trees. It's in order to do the work that needs to be done to keep floodwater off of South Devon Avenue. They have to take down more trees in order to get the equipment in there, and they are replanting it dramatically. I forget the number of trees that are going in there, but it's very large. It was mostly, Jenny, that the EAC didn't have the correct information and to give feedback, but it's not meant as criticism. If you don't go to these meetings, you don't know what's going on. And it's a further lesson as to why people should go to the Board of Commissioners meetings. And this project used to be called the Levin Tract. What, 15 years this has been in process? This is not a one-year process. It's just taken years to figure out what they were going to do with it. Okay, so I did listen to this discussion from last night, and you can go to YouTube, and it comes in towards the end of the meeting. But yeah,
And all of the,
it was incomplete information that was being transmitted.
and you can go on the Radnor Township website, search West Wayne Preserve, and all the plans are kind of grouped together. for
Right.
that project.
Well, the EAC was concerned as to why they hadn't been consulted.
Well, so West Wayne Preserve did come in front of us. Steve Norsini did a presentation 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's just been such a long duration that people
I
forget.
couldn't agree with you more.
Right. But John Hosback, Steve Norsini, I think a couple of us walked the West Wayne Preserve with them, and there's a ton of plantings going in.
It's like thousands, right?
Yeah, it's, I mean, we're talking whips, saplings, plugs, larger trees, and I know there's a grant involved, pretty sizable one that's contributing to some of the planting part of this, so. It's definitely an area that's been kind of put on pause for quite a while, and it needs some work. But definitely, it's good to talk about because there's a lot of details and concern for all of this, so. All right, and the biggest thing is stormwater, and that was one of the reasons why, you know, we did the riparian planting at Warren Philippone, try and soak up as much water as we can upstream, and do what we can there. Okay, I did just want to touch on our terms while we're here. So if we do end up canceling December's meeting, which seems like we're going to, January, we will vote on chair, vice chair, and then renew anyone's commitments. Peggy should have reached out to anyone that had expiring terms. Right, Leah? I think all
I
of
think
that's-
it's you and Jen.
Yep, because you accepted a 3-month position. We'd love to have you back. And Jenny, you are leaving us at the end of the year, correct?
Yes, I am.
Sad to see you go, but off to
It's been fun,
great
guys.
endeavors,
It's
yes.
been a pleasure working with you all.
You've done
It's
some
mutual.
fantastic work with us, Jenny, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So we'll have an open seat, which I think we have a person for.
Okay.
And we'll make sure everybody's renewed and we vote our first meeting of the year. All right.
So Seth, can I say something?
Yes.
One little bit of new business. I was going by Morris Road the other day, and I noticed that a number of the cherries have growth being pushed up through the flare. So it's like it's something that should be attended to, and I'm just noting it, and I don't want to put the work on anybody, but maybe we could just work out something with, Public Works, or, I'd be willing to volunteer my time to take those things off. I think the key, though, is making sure all the residents know what we're up to, so they don't think we're out there to take their cherries out or something, people are gonna.
Yeah, shoot an email to Ricky, copy Steve, sorry, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's not every tree, it's just every other tree.
Right. Yeah, I remember when those went in, 3-4 years ago at this point? Any other new business? Okay. Annual goals, so I will be setting these similar to what I had done last year. We'll review these in January. But as far as a recap from this year, we met all of our goals, exceeded them, so the number of trees that we planted. So we did 150 in the fall, we did 80 in the spring, so that's 230. And I actually failed to mention, so give me 1 second while I bring up her details. So Karen Wilwall from Delaware County Conservation District. So Rose Tree Media Park, they had accepted, so the 10 million tree program, they had some leftover saplings that we got. I actually picked them up today. There's around 35, so there's some scarlet oaks, there's some red maples, there's, I think, a few hackberries, so a bunch. The only thing they didn't have were tubes, which I'm going to try and pick some up. But just like what we did with the trees that we got from the PHS flower show, I'll put together a quick flyer, have Molly send it out, and then the goal is, I spoke with Ricky, we'll set these at the side of the township building, and first come, first serve. We'll probably limit it like 2 per household or something and go in the honor system. But we'll have those out and available on Saturday is my goal. And it'll be a nice little giveaway, another 35 trees to add to the list. And I do want to have Radnor participate in the 10 million tree program. It's just been a lot of logistics this year. But that's also a great opportunity while there's still 10 million trees left to get as many trees as we can. And those size trees would be a great project for some of the areas in the parks that, like down at Hartford Park near the water. I know we wanted to plant a ton of trees down there. That would be a great project for there, and I'm sure we could find other spots. But in any event, that's that. So more trees. Hazardous trees. I don't know, Steve, if you have any insight into any of those on the list. Otherwise, we can kind of scoot over that.
I'm aware of the ones that we removed.
Okay, sure.
They're all deemed hazardous by our township arborist, and most of them were in the right-of-way, street trees in the right-of-way, except for, of course, we got the Emlyn Tennell 60-inch red oak that sadly had to come down. But that had a lot of decline, a lot of dead wood. We had been nipping at that for a couple of years now, and finally, John said it had to go.
Got it.
Being the proximity with, the parking lot, the people who use the park, I know Sarah, you down there all the time. 95? Is that what, did you count the rings? Did you?
Left an enormous hole.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't like to see that go, but.
Sure. Well, maybe we'll replant some trees where that was, and more than one. And I know that that field, that area has been on the list for a little while, so we'll maybe add that to the list for the spring.
Perfect.
Great.
Yep.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Steve, for that overview. Appreciate it. Any questions on either hazardous trees or trees removed by Radnor Township? Everybody good?
Just one thing, at the park, would anybody like to see a bigger tree planted where that oak was taken out, if there was space? Instead of just a small 2.5, get something a little bit larger?
I wouldn't mind
I
that.
mean, if we could put it in the budget somewhere.
Yeah. Our fund is very healthy with some of the efficiencies we've been making throughout the year, and also all of the fee in lieu ofs. So I think we could spare some money to make that happen. But I
That'd
like
be
that
good.
idea. Yeah.
Maybe during the winter if township has more time, or unless we have to sub it out or something. Would the township plant a tree?
Yeah, we could replant the tree. I mean, what size tree are we talking about here?
How about we discuss it, and then next meeting we can figure out what type
Yeah.
of tree,
Yeah, that
what
sounds good.
species, everything like that.
Yeah.
Sarah,
Really.
since you're in the area, you can work with us.
When I make public comment, I will comment.
Sounds good.
Public comment, speaking of.
Only public here.
What do you suggest? Another red oak? What do you got, Sarah?
Sarah Pilling, 29 Garrett Avenue. As to Emlyn Tennell, yes, an oak. And somebody planted a Sorbus americana at the field. It is the most pathetic looking thing I've ever seen. So I would like to request a second tree that will come to a size, because there's a birch there that for years I've been watching it, because it's sort of this way over the benches, that eventually it's going to go and we need to plug a hole. But I think large canopy, there are no street trees on Garrett Avenue. And so that park has always been our tree canopy. And so the largest trees we can do. And an interesting piece to that, which has nothing to do with nothing, but I think it's both amusing and interesting. In Paris, France, you're 4 times more liable to die of heat stroke than any other city in Europe. The reason is very wide boulevards, lots of impervious, not very many trees, very tall buildings, no air conditioning, and the higher you go, and they're 9, 10, they're walk-ups, and that's where the seniors live, so they're under the heat of these buildings. It was on NPR today. It was sort of interesting. But what I wanted to say, and I'm sorry Frank's not here, is having participated in several years of fall and spring planting, and remembering the first year while we dug holes at Macron where there had been trees, so we were digging through reeds, to this year has been an amazing, amazing process. So that by the time this fall, yes, I appointed myself the senior bag lady, it was all cleaned up. And by the way, you may not have noticed, but in all the areas where they had cut down stuff, I picked up all the balls and all the plastic bottles and all the bags. So it's really become quite a system, and Frank really should be proud, and so should Shade Tree, what you're accomplishing. I'd like to suggest, because you're one of the best kept secrets in the township, that in the spring, wherever you're going to do in a park, you do a video so it gets shown at a commissioners meeting and it goes out on the web. because people don't know. In passing, somebody would say to me, "What'd you do this weekend?" And I would tell them, and they'd go, "Oh, I didn't know Radnor did that."
So just so happens, Executive Tree Care did do a video, and I did a little
I
piece-
saw you
piece
doing
in
a
it.
little piece.
So you can check that one out. Good little overview, but I agree. I think Kristen Scott, who's on our commission, has a communications background, and maybe we'll
You should
tag her to.
shout
There's
from
Yes,
the
yeah.
There's an
treetops
article.
what you're doing, because it really is
I was
impressive.
going to say, Sarah, she's written a really nice article for the Radnor News Magazine.
Right.
That'll be out this quarter.
That
So-
is a good point. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah,
for.
She and I had a long talk, and I am looking for rent-a-goats.
Yes,
I
find
have
us some goats.
taken that on. It's not easy to find because it's word of mouth. But I'm approaching some Chester County folks. Do they know of them? Then, of course, the whole issue, will they come from Chester County to Delaware County to Radnor? But anyhow, I just wanted to say it's really become a very slick job. I know there was some conversation about why do we in Radnor do X, Y, and Z with our trees. We don't need to do that. And I thought about it, and PHS has developed this system for holes in sidewalks in Philadelphia. And so the way for them to keep data is if we all do it the same way, be it in Center City, Philadelphia, or Radnor Township. So if anybody says, oh, we don't need to do that, you can say this is a standardization of a process. And it really is important to do it the way they set it up so they can get data where apples and oranges are just apples.
100%. Yeah, we did get the GPS coordinates of all trees that we planted, and that goes into the system, and we can see all the new trees on the map. It's great.
Right. So, yes, I would be more than happy to help about Emlyn Tinnell in the spring. I mean, we're getting there. Some of the trees, I don't know who bought them. This has been years. They were some kind of an elm. And they didn't look at where the wind was, and these trees are lopsided. You can see where half of the tree trunk was torn off in a storm because there's some good wind that comes through there. But it's coming along. It's much better than it was. But it also can continue to have some additional trees. Just remember, this is our urban park. And it's vital to the houses. No, thank you. Thank you for all you do. It's wonderful, and it's wonderful to be a part of it. And I'll grab the job of senior bag lady in the spring.
We'll take it, and thank you for all your help, Sarah.
Well,
Much
it's a
appreciated.
pleasure to see something so wonderful going on.
Great to hear it. All right. Anything else before we adjourn? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn. To have a second? All in favor? Aye. All right. Good night, everyone.